Hello and welcome to part 2 of TV Coast to Coast, our weekly video chat about the week's notable programs and what's coming up that people should have on their radar. I'm joined by other members of our rotating crew of TV critics from across the country. This week we've got me, Christy Turnquist, TV critic of The Oregonian and OregonLive.com here in Portland, Vicki Hyman, TV writer for the Star Ledger and NJ.com, and Mark DeWitziak of the Cleveland Plain Dealer and Cleveland.com. Hello, everybody.
Hi there.
So now in the second segment, I know we wanted to talk about these two new ABC shows, Blackish, a family comedy that stars Anthony Anderson and premieres Wednesday night, and How to Get Away with Murder, a legal drama from Scandal creator Shonda Rhimes, and it stars Oscar nominee Viola Davis. I think both shows are notable because they're examples of ABC making a real effort to emphasize diversity in casting and in subject matter. The African-American family at the center of Blackish, and Viola Davis is one of the still very few African-American women in the lead role of a broadcast network series. I think are a welcome effort to reflect some real-world diversity as opposed to the still rather white-dominated world of a lot of broadcast network programming. And I'm looking forward to watching more of both shows for that reason and for some other reasons as well. So, Mark, what do you think about Blackish and about How to Get Away with Murder?
I like them both. I've got great hopes for both. Let's start with Blackish. I hate the title. I wish it had a different title. It's probably the thing I dislike about it the most. It's not a great pilot. As a matter of fact, it's a little bit all over the place and trying to introduce everything in an exposition. But when it clicks, it really clicks. And the other thing I like about it, and maybe this is just because so many of the comedies you see on network television aren't really about anything. This show is about something. It's so refreshing to see comedy being used to actually have a discussion about something. And How to Get Away with Murder, what a role. And what perfect actress for the role. It gives Shonda Rhimes the entire Thursday night lineup now with Grey's Anatomy, Scandal, and now How to Get Away with Murder. And she has written a terrific part. This part kind of reminds me of the old John Houseman character in Paper Chase, and you combine that with Glenn Close's character in Damages. Is that a scary combination? Yeah, it is. It is a powerful combination. Yeah, it is. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this one develops as well. Vicki, what do you think?
Well, I thought it was interesting, the juxtaposition of these two shows, because they show racial diversity in different ways. And you have, in Blackish, you have a story about an African-American family, and the pilot, at least, is very specifically about the upper middle class African-American experience, about assimilation, about Black culture being co-opted, which is probably the funniest bits of the show. And I hope that won't be the be-all, end-all of the show. But Mark, I do agree with you that, it's really interesting to have such a strong point of view for a pilot. But I wouldn't mind some sort of like Modern Family style hijinks in addition to, all the talks about dashikis like they had in the premiere. And the Shonda Rhimes show is a little bit different because you have Viola Davis, who has herself made the distinction that, Kerry Washington and Halle Berry aside, she's the first dark-skinned African-American lead actress in a lead role, or one of them at least. But it's a role that has very little to do with the color of her skin. So you could see, Vera Farmiga doing a good job with the role, and Glenn Close, you could argue, did kind of play this role in Damages, but she is really amazing in the role. It just doesn't have a whole lot to do with her being African-American, which is fine. We need just to see it on television sometimes. Shonda Rhimes sort of specializes in this colorblind sort of casting, but there's an argument to be made that television needs more depictions of the African-American or the Hispanic or the Indian-American experience as well, in addition to the colorblind casting. Christy, how do you weigh in on this?
I agree with you. And I mean, certainly the one of the big pleasures of How to Get Away with Murder, which has moments in the pilot that I think indicate we might be going into the sort of scaled 11, the 1 to 10 scale of intensity that Shonda Rhimes has already shown us with Scandal. But just watching Viola Davis work is such a pleasure. She is such a powerhouse, and it's great to see her get in a role that really gives her a chance to flex her considerable muscles. And I'll be watching just to watch her. So I think that wraps it up for this week. Our recommendation is to at least give a try to Blackish, which premieres Wednesday night on ABC, and How to Get Away with Murder, which premieres Thursday night on ABC. Thanks to both Vicki and Mark for joining us, and thanks for watching. And we will be back next week.